That good? And guess what? What I'm going to teach you today, how to make some money. You can make money this week with it, and it'll cost you nothing. No ad spend, no dollars. Kind of the best ROI out there. That sound good? Is that interesting, anybody? Or we can just talk about Alabama football. You want to do that? I mean, football season is a little bit getting closer. It's getting closer and closer. So somebody wants to do that, we can do. Somebody's on there with me. Said, all right. Let's make some money. So what I want to talk to you about today is your list, the list that you have that you cultivated in some shape, form, or fashion you have paid for. Now, there may be some of you on there that do not have a list. That's completely fine. You will at some point in time, and this is going to be paramount. I would highly recommend that you pay attention to this, save this. So when you do. Now, some of you say, Brad, I got a really, really small list. Well, there's a whole bunch of money that could be made off a small list. Even if your list is just 100 people, I promise you we can make a lot of money off of it. The bigger the list, obviously, the bigger the opportunity. However, since my time here at COD is something I've been able to uncover is a really big opportunity. It was a big opportunity for us within COD. It's also been a really big opportunity for a lot of our clients. I've helped a large number of people in MA roll this out, and they've seen extremely positive results, as of course we have inside our organization here at COD. So it's going to be a little bit different than what you may have been taught or what you may believe to be true in the past. So just accept that. It's going to be different. And it's not really going to jive with maybe what you think is best. And so that's what I'm here to do today. I'm here to challenge you a little bit, but I'm going to do my best to break it down and explain it to you so that you understand not only what you need to do, but why this is so effective. All right. So I'm going to back up and explain first and foremost that most people, in the comments, tell me, what do you think is the number one mistake people make when they're emailing a list? Now, I'm not talking about follow up to like as a reminder. I'm talking about you're emailing your list to get calls booked on the calendar. What do you think is the number one mistake that people make when they do that? Let's see if I can pull up this chat. All right. Oh, there we go. Somebody who said go Gamecocks? Poor pitiful. Oh, not Alan and Angie. Oh, Lord Jesus. Trojans, I'll pray for you. All right. Let's see. Too long. Is it too long? All right. Not emailing them enough. No call to action. They assume the people are reading the emails. That's pretty interesting. And could be true. Subject line, no offer. They talk about themselves. These are all really great. Not a clear PSA or CTA. Not a strong CTAs. Bad subject lines. Frequency. Not using PAS. Lack of consistency. Too few emails. Going to spam. Don't know what CTA to use. Not frequent enough. All right. Limiting the list. Too long. Great. Awesome. So a lot of these are good. The number one mistake that people make when emailing their list is they try to be friends with their list. And they try to use their list as a means of branding, right? How many of you have put some amount of time and energy and effort into making your emails look pretty? Come on. Anybody done that? Like, even if it's like, I got to get your right logo up there. You want the right font. You want to get it, centered right. You want to make certain that it looks all professional. Anybody guilty of that? I know I've done it. I've certainly done it. So I think most of us probably have. It looks like there's yeses across the board. I want to challenge you on how you think about this right now, because the only thing that you're doing there is stroking or serving your own ego. Now, I say this with all the love in the world, but that's the only purpose that it is serving. All right. So when you go to make an email and you put all this branding on it, you make this big, beautiful border, you spend this time making certain that it's all perfect. It's got your company colors and your logos and all the stuff on it, beautiful pictures. The only purpose that serves is for your ego. Period. Now, you may disagree with that. You may not like to hear it, but it's still true. It's 100% true. It serves you absolutely no purpose in being able to gain a client from that list. Absolutely none whatsoever. In fact, it harms it. It actually makes it more difficult for you to gain any type of client or prospect from that list. Now, let me explain to you why. Some of you have been a part or been here, been present for some of my Facebook trainings or Instagram trainings or advertising. And one thing that I've shared consistently is that when we use image or videos, we always want to use image or videos that look native, right? Has anybody heard me say that before? Right. And the reason why is because anytime that we see something that we are able, this the moment that we see anything, whether it be on the side of a road, it be in a magazine, it be a billboard, it be a face on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, wherever, the moment that we see something that is polished and professional, what does that instantly tell us? Instantly, what does that tell us? Anybody got an idea? There we go. Taylor, great job. Someone's trying to sell you something. That's right. That someone is trying to sell you something. Now you may not think this through. You may not like consciously think, but instantly, subliminally, you know that the only reason someone's sending you an email that has anything that looks professional on it, that person is trying to sell you something. They're trying to market something to you. That email is then read or conceived through or perceived through a filter of I've got a little bit of a guard up, right? This person's trying to get me to buy something. Everyone almost loves to purchase. We love to buy. None of us really like to be sold to. So if that's true, and I think we all can agree that is true, then doesn't it make sense that the moment someone opens up her email and they see a big border, they see an image of some sort, they see your logo, doesn't it make sense that the moment that happens, the person that had any intent in potentially reading that email is not, if they even read it, is now reading it through the lens of, you're trying to sell me something. Does that make sense? Yes? No? Good. So although I've been guilty of this early in my career as well. We put a lot of time and energy and effort sometimes in making certain our emails look great. It's just like the person who spends a whole lot of time making certain their logo is the perfect logo. Has anybody ever bought from you because of your logo? Has anyone ever inquired about how you can solve their problem or how you can potentially serve them because you had a beautiful border or you had the right colors? No, this may not be the easiest thing to receive, but the only person that is serving is you and your ego, right? And that's understandable. That's why I did it. If I look back and I was honest, is I wanted to look super professional. I wanted people to take me serious. I wanted people to say, you know what, this guy's for real. Like, it looks like a business. However, as we grow and mature in what running and growing and scaling a business looks like, we realize that literally does the complete opposite for what matters to a business and what matters to our prospects and us. You see, you can't help anyone if you don't have them as a client, right? You can't serve you cannot serve them. You cannot change their life. You cannot have an impact on them if they are not paying you for your services. That's just true, right? And so that takes me to the next point. How many of us have sent out emails with helpful content, right? With stuff, because we want to put out goodwill. How many of us have put out emails, maybe many emails, where we're trying to prove that we are the expert that we say we are by serving first, by giving them information that if they apply will help them? Has anybody ever done that? Yes? No? No? Cool. I see most of us. I see a couple of notes. That's awesome for those that say no. And so someone said meal plans, recipes. Yeah, challenge. That's awesome. Here's the reality. If we're honest with ourselves, let's say someone said meal plan, so I'm just going to use that as an example. If it is, I would assume that has something to do with weight loss or fitness. If it does, if let's say that I needed to lose 25 pounds, which I do, by the way, or diabetes reversal. Let's say that's the case. if you sent me an email and you had a great headline and you got me to open it, and I wasn't distracted by any beautiful graphics of any sort, and I looked at this email and I read it and I found there's a great recipe and that or a great workout plan or whatever it may be. What do you think the chances are? Now I may like it. I may even save it. I may even put it in a special folder. What do you think the chances are that that piece of information is going to lead to me losing the 25 pounds that I need to lose? If we're just honest, the answer is zero. Absolutely zero. That that again, it's a misbelief that we think, well, if we give them enough information, we're proving our worth. They're going to take some action on this. They're going to see the result of it, and they're going to take the next step. Well, let me ask you, how many times have you done that in your life where you've gotten an email and you said, you know what, somebody gave me a recipe and I went and tried the recipe, and then I went back to them and asked them to help me with my weight loss journey or whatever it may be. How many times have you taken an email, read it, applied it consistently enough to get some results, and then decided that, and that was the deciding factor that made you decide to reach out and purchase a product or service from someone? Nobody. Like you, that is, if there is somebody, you are the anomaly, and it's certainly not something we can build a successful business around. It's not a practice that we can build a practice, a true profitable business around. So again, I want to break some beliefs. I'm gonna in just a moment. I'm gonna teach you some really, really cool tricks. I'm gonna give you today, again, as a gift from Mark, some scripts that you can use, that you can plug and play. And I promise you, if you plug and play these the way that I tell you, you will make money from it. You're gonna get that today. But first, I want you to understand. I want to dispel a lot of the beliefs out there. The only way that you can help your clients or help your prospects is if they become a client. If you think spending all this time, energy, and effort in putting goodwill content out there in the form of email is helping them or serving them, you're mistaken. It's just not true. And I've been guilty of it before. I didn't know any better, and I thought logically that makes sense to me. Well, I want to put my best foot forward. I want to make a good impression, and eventually, one day along this infinite journey of Never Neverland, they'll come back to me and say, you know what? Because I got this email and that email, and I got so many touches, and I was so impressed. Now I want to give you my money and hire. That has never happened, and it will never happen. The reality of the matter is, how do people, here's a good question. How and when do people make buying decisions? What's the question? When and how? When they're in pain, there we go. When they're in enough pain, when it affects them, when they're at the brink, when they are in pain, when they feel like they're at their end emotionally, in the moment. There we go. Yes. So I think all of these wrap that up. Anna, great job. Most buying decisions, right, wrong, or indifferent, are emotionally triggered. Right now, some people manipulate that for the bad, but that's that's on some people. The reality is you should use that for your good and understand that to be true. Whether you like it or dislike it, the reality is most people are going to buy from you when they are in some emotional state, right? They have felt a pain that has triggered them or hurt them enough to where now they're at a moment for whatever reason that they want to solve it. This is also why when you're booking out, we highly recommend that most people don't book out calls more than 48 business hours, because whatever that emotional state was that triggered them to go through the process, watch your VSL webinar, complete application, book a call. We don't want that emotional state to dissipate. That's when data proves short rates drop off a cliff right after the 48-hour mark. Why? Because the emotional state is gone. It's not that the problem isn't still there. It's the emotion that triggered them to actually take that next step has now dissipated. Right? That's just the world we live in. Things change. So the reality is if we understand that to be true, and we have a list of people that at some point have expressed some type of interest in our service, we need to make certain that we're catering content and we're catering how we broadcast and deliver content to our email list with that in mind. Okay. So what I'm going to tell you today is that you need to drop all the bullshit and be aggressive. Get away from trying to be pretty. Get away from trying to be aesthetically pleasing. Get away from trying to look all professional. What is going to move the needle in your business and in their life is if we are direct and to the point and we meet people where they are. The beautiful thing about an email list is we have the opportunity to meet people where they are. I promise you, anyone on here that has a list over 100 people, 100 people or more, every single one of you, there is someone on that list that is in a position of they are ready to buy today. They're ready to take the next step today, and they just weren't when they initially came through. Think about your own life, all of our lives. We live in a fast-changing, ever-moving world. Circumstances change, things change, and it happens at a very rapid rate for all of us. So the only reason someone's on their list is because at some point in time, they were introduced to the problem that you solved, and they expressed some type of interest, right? That's why they're on your list. They took the step to say, hey, this person solves a problem that I have, and I'm interested in that solution. Now, they haven't purchased from you at this point. That means, for whatever reason, that buying decision wasn't made then. So rather it be something happened in the funnel, something happened in the sales, something happened in their own personal life, for whatever reason they were not a buyer at that point in time. Just because they were not a buyer yesterday does not mean they are not a buyer today. Things change, and our list allows us to meet people where they are consistently. However, you only have so much capital, right? I mean, capital, the ability to email. You don't want us to be sending 100 emails per day, every day. You should be emailing fairly frequently. We'll talk about that in a moment. But we want to make certain that we're leveraging our email capital very wisely. So every single email, here's big takeaway number one today, is every single email that you send should be a direct response with the absolute direct goal to do nothing more than to click a link, watch a VSL or webinar, and book a call. Click a link from that email to watch your VSL or webinar and book a call. That is the only CTA that you should have there, period, is to click a link to rewatch a webinar or a VSL, preferably a VSL. Even if you're only running webinar, this would be an instance where it'd be worth your time building out an efficient VSL, even if it's just used for this purpose. But it should go to that particular link. Your CTA should go to the link where they rewatch the webinar, VSL, and then that leads them to book a call. That should be the only CTA, and it should be your CTA every single time, 100% of the time. You are not there to give a bunch of great information. You're not there to bless them with free opportunities to learn from you. You're not there to prove yourself to them. You are there to be in their face and give them the opportunity to take the step they did not take when they first came into your ecosystem for whatever reason. That is the only reason you should email, and you should do it every single day, and you should do it aggressively. And yes, I said every single day. How many people email their list more than twice a week? Let's see, 3, 4, 2, 3. Beautiful. Ideally, what I would love to see is somewhere between 10 and 14 emails per week. 10 to 14 emails per week. Okay. Now, why? Does that seem like a lot to people? Seems like a whole lot. All right. I guarantee you. There we go. Somebody's going to have fear around this. Courtney says feel spammy, right? And there's going to be some fear around here. What about list burn? Great question. Most days twice. Alan, Angie, love it. Clarify, CTA only goes to webinar VSL, not to book a call directly. Yes, we'll get to that moment in a second, but that is correct, Taylor. So what if we burn the list? What if people get agitated? What if people get pissed off? What if people send you a nasty email back saying, like, quit Quit emailing me. Leave me alone. What happens then? What if they unsubscribe? Who gives a shit? Those people are never going to buy from you anyways. Your job is not to cater to the people that do not want your help. Your job is not to cater to the lowest common denominator. That is broke people thinking, right? That is not how you have an impact in this world. Your people who have an impact are absolutely obsessed with serving as many people as they possibly can, helping as many people as they possibly can, right? And if that means pissing a few people off along the way, so be it. People get pissed off about everything now. Anything, everything, all day, every day. You just go on Twitter. You'll see it. Somebody's going to be mad about something. It doesn't matter the intent. It doesn't matter what it is. I've been called every MFer in the book because I sent someone a happy Thanksgiving email. All right? It is what it is. Your job is not to cater to them, and I would urge you to be a leader and be confident in yourself and the people that you want to serve and act in accordance to the people that aren't unsubscribing, to the people that are taking action. Those are the people that you should be most concerned about, not the people that are in their feelings because you sent them one too many emails or 10 too many emails. Yes, you will have some people that will send you nasty emails back. Yes, you will have people that unsubscribe. Yes, you will burn up a portion of your list. But what you also will do is you will gain exponentially more clients of people who need your help, that make you money and serve your purpose, that would otherwise would not have happened. It would not have happened. So people asking about, well, multiple emails a day. Really, Brett? Yes, really. Absolutely. And there's data to back this up. How do most people, I'm certain this group would align as well, but the data backs nationally, what type of device do most people check their email? Phone, mobile phone. Yes, that's correct. Everybody, the majority of people, like 90, I don't recall the exact numbers, 90% of people check all of their email, check their email on their phone. Now, here's what's very interesting is what the data is proven is that when people pick up their phone and check their email, they will only scroll 1.5 times. So let's say at 8 a.m. you send an email. So different people's phones are different sizes, but nonetheless, you're going to have emails on there. Most people, the data proves that most people will only scroll 1.5 times. So that could typically range between somewhere to 12, depending on screen size, 12 to 20 emails that they'll view. That means if this person, if your email fall, if you sent this email at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, they don't check their email until 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and there's more than 20 emails in there. They never see it in the first place. It's never even seen by that individual. Right? And this is cold, hard data that's been proven time and time and time again. You can research it yourself. People don't. We have short attention spans. People don't go looking through their email nearly as much as we think they do. Just because you send it twice a day doesn't mean they see it twice a day. Now, I would not suggest sending the exact same email twice a day, but the same style of email with the same type of CTA, absolutely. Because first things that we have to do in any email campaign is get the person to see it. Right? It doesn't matter how great the subject line is. It doesn't matter how great the copy is. It doesn't matter how great the CTA is, the BSL we send them to. None of that matters if no one sees it. That's kind of common sense, right? Do y'all agree with that? So I would say challenge yourself to be more aggressive, and don't fall into this trap of fear. That for those of you that were at the LP event when I spoke in Huntington Beach, right? Well, how I've ended the speech or talk, whatever you want to call it, that I gave. I said, choose hope over fear, right? One of two things is going to drive and guide your life, right? And if your life is going to be driven and decided by every fear that comes up, you are never going to reach your full potential, and you're never going to be able to experience life at which you're capable of experiencing. That's a fact. However, if you choose hope, over that, meaning I don't fear the people that are going to unsubscribe, the people that are going to piss off, but I make that decision based off the hope that people see this, they take action, I get to have a conversation with them, I get to enroll them, and I get to serve them and change their life. If you make decisions based off more off hope than fear, I promise you, across the board, you're going to succeed far more in life than if you chose fear over hope. That's just a fact. So I'm going to stop right there for a second and answer any questions we got before I keep going too far. But quickly, is this helping? Is everybody in alignment? Does this make sense? Do you have any questions? Let's see here.
Rachel and Scott.
Yeah, Brad, our question is, what if they've already watched the webinar? We haven't yet built our VSL because our regular webinar funnel is rocking. So what if we don't want them to have to watch 38-minute webinar again? What about that?
Yes, you do.
We do?
Right. We do. Yes, you do. Absolutely, you do. I'm going to get to that into just a moment. So great question. I'll get to that in a moment. I want to try to base the questions right now just on everything I've already covered. So if there's something there, but thank you for that question, and I will get to that in just a moment.
Thank you.
All right. Comment sections are like went haywire, which I love. So if you have a question, go ahead and put your hand up so I can answer it. And I know I don't miss it.
Taylor should be up next.
Taylor, what you got, girl?
I'm on 2 screens. This is awesome. So I have my VSL video. I haven't rolled it out yet, but I'm really excited that I can use it for this now. I haven't created the thank you video yet. Is that going to be essential, or is just the VSL?
No. We're not worried about thank you videos. I mean, yes, it's part of the process, but you can if anyone is struggling with a thank you video, you can launch that bad boy without it in a heartbeat. Russ would say the same thing. Like, don't stress over a thank you video. A thank you page can be, I'm looking forward to speaking with you. Just text on the screen. Hey, I'm looking forward to speaking with you, and I will call you at the appointed time or your chosen time.
Okay, great. Would you put some social proof on that page, like as an interim page?
Sure.
Anything else? Okay.
Yeah. Do whatever you want to. Thank you pages are a mechanism that we use to improve show-up rates. But a lot of people get caught in this thank you video where, guess what? The show-up rate's not even a problem yet. So if you're getting hung up on that, like, don't worry about it. Don't fix the problem until it's a problem. Like, let's get people going through the funnel and book and call, and let's sell them some stuff first. Then if it becomes a problem, hey, we'll make certain that we dial in a really, really good thank you video. But don't stress over it too much.
Getting from this then that I can go ahead and launch my VSL right now side by side with my webinar, even though I don't have my thank you video.
Watch that mofo. Watch now. Absolutely. Have my stamp of approval.
Thank you. Awesome.
Beautiful. Tina, what's up?
Hi, Brad. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you. I have 2 questions. One similar to what Taylor just asked. So I can just use the link for the VSL video in my email?
Yes.
Okay, absolutely. Great. Yeah. Secondly, you said to send out the email twice a day, roughly 12 hours apart, or do you have advice on that?
Yes. So everyone's a little bit different in this because if depending on what your demographic is, like, you need to take into consideration your audience, what country, all those different things. But just kind of give you a parameter, right, to think through is 8 a.m. or 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 2:30 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time are typically really, really good times to email. So you can now play with that as you will. So I'm not really concerned as much about the gap in between. Now, obviously, I don't want to do them an hour or 2 apart, but it's more along the lines of 2 things. One, when is my prospect most likely to engage with it, and to actually open it and see it. And secondly, when am I not competing with other emails? Like, most people, the reason I say 8:30 Pacific Standard Time is most larger companies are sending out their emails somewhere around 6:30 to 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I'm positioning myself to get at the top of that thread, right?
That again, 8:30 a.m. and 2:30 to 3 p.m. Pacific Time.
Mm-hmm. And so here's an interesting tool for those of you that are running Facebook ads. Now this will not be applicable for everyone that does. If you're not there yet, you don't have enough data. But in the world of Facebook, and sometimes the trend's there, sometimes it's not, but many times it is. you can go into your accounts and go look at a 3-month window, right, or a 2 to 3 month window. Go look at the biggest window that you have, and go into the breakdown section of all of your conversions, and break down by the time, because if you a lot of times you'll see a trend where your particular demographic is like always between these hours. You're seeing exponentially more clicks from your ads to the VSL webinar, but many more conversions. And so when you see that, it's kind of like a cheat code for you personally and your demographic to see when your people are most active online. So if they're active on Facebook, they're typically active on their phone as a whole, and you have a better chance of doing that. So if you have that data, I would certainly look at it before I set those times in place.
And then Brad, as an extension to my question, the link that we use to the VSL, is there a name that we should be using for that link in the email that we send out?
What do you mean the name?
Like how we label it?
Sure. I'll get to that when I get to the copy portion.
Okay. And also just another quick question. Can we use that same VSL in our private Facebook group? And what about if we have a Facebook business page? Do we use them there as well?
I would separate. I would do a different link for those different traffic sources, just so that I can be very, very clear on where my converting traffic's coming from.
Okay, and how can I learn to create different links for those different things then?
It's a great question.
Good.
I don't know. I'll pose that question to your coach and find you a solution.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Kelly, what's up?
Hey Brad, thanks for doing this. So a couple things. The thing that, and I love the trainings that you've given. I'm working on my real estate portfolio, so big respect and appreciation for you and all that you do. Wondering, number one, what this has given clients on demand, because I know when you guys rolled out VSL, you were able to clearly point to, hey, our cost per call went from this to this. So I'm wondering what's the motivation behind this, just to help me feel comfortable with it. And two, I work with women over 45, and to quote my friend Amanda, who opened me up to a really great phrase of like the idea of a male gaze and a female gaze. This feels like something I used to work on ships. If I were marketing to the guys that I work shoulder to shoulder and fixing engines, I like anything aggressive, assertive feels great. My clientele, 45 plus, their experience in life is when things have been pushed on them aggressively or assertively, they're like, I'm not going to fight it. It's a male dominated world, but I'm just going to ghost and go away. And they're looking for relationships to be built, which maybe you're going to address in copy. And this is something I don't need to be concerned about, but those are my two things.
I would say, thank you for the question. And I would say, as lovingly as I possibly can, you are 1,000% wrong.
Great. Tell me how.
Because people are, by human nature, that is something you have, that is a story you've told yourself and you've latched onto, that they need this certain experience to become a client of yours, and it's just untrue. People are emotional beings, regardless if they're 90 or if they're 9. And they are going to make decisions based off of where they are currently in life, what emotion they're experiencing, and what opportunities they have to react to that emotion. And so the thought or the belief that you need to approach them in a different way than direct is just untrue.
Oh, I wasn't saying that I need to approach them in a different way than direct. I'm saying that the female experience over 45, and I work with a lot of introverted women, a lot of women that have been in a workplace that was male dominated. What will happen in a women's experience is that when something comes across too assertively, they will just shut down and go away, because this pattern happens again and again. And it just seems to be the type of woman that I attract. So I want to honor the fact that that's who I'm attracting, and I want to do their experience, but I'm open to being wrong.
Yeah, and I hear you. I'm understanding what you're saying 100% accurately, and I'm just telling you you're wrong. From a production standpoint and a service standpoint, that is a story that you believe to be true, and in the most loving way, I'm telling you, you're wrong. And
Well,
if you test
those
it this
people
way-
really are my clients, and I am saying that, possibly this would work. So I'm not trying to be right or wrong on it. I'm just asking, has this been tested in that demographic, and what have
Yes.
the results been?
Yeah, absolutely been tested. And the reality is everything, let me put it this way, everything that I ever bring to the table is backed by an incredible amount of data. It is not my opinion or theory, it is data, and it's across the board. If it was specific for a certain demographic, I would certainly address that. It's not true. And all I could say is you can take the advice that I give and test it and see what happens. But I will, just as lovingly as I can possibly say, is that the fear that you have that they're going to just scurry away because they've been approached is just not true. There will be people that do that. There will be people. Those people are never going to buy from you anyways, not from your list. So I don't know what else to say there. But as far as your question about for COD, I'll certainly share that in just a moment.
Cool, thank you.
You got it. Lisa, what's up?
Hello, Brad. Thank you for some awesome training. So I've got two questions. So what's the guidance on people who have already had a call, and should they be on like a different list or a time lag in terms of following up with emails?
Great question. So the answer is, should they be on different lists? No. Now, let me put context with this, because you certainly should have a follow-up sequence in place if they had a call and they did not convert. There should be a unique sequence that you have for those people to try to push that conversion. Now that sequence is going to expire at some point in time, right? How elaborate and just elongated that sequence is your personal preference. It could be 5 emails, it could be 20 emails, it could be 200 emails, but at some point in time, that follow-up sequence would expire. What I'm suggesting to you today would be a one bucket fits all. So that sequence that they're in would be a completely different thing. However, everyone on your list who has not bought from you for whatever reason, unless they were not a fit, then you should have removed them from the list anyways. But if they're on the list and they have not purchased from you regardless of what stage they are, they should get these emails twice a day.
And there's no sort of time lag in terms of if they had a call last week or they had a call 2 months ago.
Now, the only time that I may do something, and again, it depends on your sequence, your follow-up sequence. So if there's a timely follow-up sequence that lasts 3 days, then certainly you could have a 3-day cushion window or a 5-day cushion window. That's going to be different for everyone. So there's no real hard rule of thumb for that. But you'd have to make your best judgment on when you would want to include them. However, just to answer your question at its most basic level is just because someone's had a call, should they get these emails? Absolutely.
Amazing, thank you. And then the second part of my question, I think you mentioned scripts and you were going to share something about scripts with us. My VSL's gone up. I don't actually have a follow-up sequence in place. So the scripts that you're going to share, are they from like day 0, or are they just more generic follow-up scripts that you're going to share?
No, these are all direct response scripts. These aren't follow-ups. These are direct response. I want to put people from your list on your calendar to pay you money. That's what these scripts are for.
Okay, so the follow-up emails, does COD, because obviously when we do the webinar, in the training, there's a number of emails that go out, the 24-hour pass, blah, 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 blah. Is there like a set of sequence of emails for the VSL?
I'll have to double check. I'm not familiar enough with that to see or to give you an accurate answer. So I don't want to misspeak. I'm not certain, but that's not what this training is about, just so that we're clear.
Okay. Is it possible, who do I ask in the team to get?
I would ask your coach, your mindset coach on that.
Okay.
They could get the answer to you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Brad.
I'm sorry. You're very welcome. Just for time, let's keep it to one question because we have a lot more stuff to cover, and I want to make certain that we're able to get all this over to you today. Luke, what's up, brother?
Hey, Brad, what's up, man? Thank you for this awesome training. My question is about the call to action. So I use an email signature, and in my email signature, I have a couple of calls to action. The first one is a link to my webinar, and soon to be converted to a VSL on your advice. And then the second one is a link to my Facebook group. I'm wondering if in your professional opinion, having too many calls to action of that sort in the signature would dilute the strength of the call to action in the main body of the email.
1000% it will. Very good question. I'm glad you, it's very wise of you to ask it. And just so that everyone knows, you should only have one CTA in your email, period. Even, and this accounts for like, even at the bottom of your signature, you just have your home website or like nothing. No, there's one CTA to be found on your email at all. There's one. A confused person does nothing, right? When you give people too many options, they don't do anything. We want one CTA and one CTA only, and that is going back to the webinar VSL. That's it.
Thank you, brother.
You're very welcome. Alan and Angie, what's happening?
Hey, this is great. We have our before and after pictures on every correspondence, Brad. Do you think that's a hindrance for our email? It's true.
Are they? Where are they at?
They're at the top. Well,
Yes, they are hindrance.
In the signature.
I would prefer that they not be on there anywhere.
Okay.
But if you're just dead set on having them, then they certainly got to be at the very, very bottom.
And
We're not-
we're asking you.
We're not interested in doing anything except the Roll 9 class.
So the reason for that is just so that everyone understands a little bit more. Anytime that we add images of any kind, whether it's a banner, it's a logo, it's a before and after picture, it's anything. Number one, it's distracting. Number two, it comes across as an advertisement of some sort. Number three, it also slows down the person's ability to open and can digest that email, right? The load time is going to be slower, which also, by the way, will hurt your your delivery rate to the actual inbox. The more pictures and images that are inside of an email text or an email will actually lower your score and your deliverability to the actual inbox. The more times that you send any type of images of more, like that's one of the filters, because I'm like, we talked about it just a few moments ago, and we understand that, hey, if I have any images or banners or anything like that, I know that that's an advertisement of some sort, right? Well, guess who also knows that? Google, Yahoo, Bing, Microsoft, they know that as well. So what you're doing is you're signaling to the actual servers that host all of these emails that you are trying to sell something to these people. You're trying to sell it a lot.
I'm glad we found that. We've only sent 1 million so far, so I'm glad we found it on the first 1 million. So the next 100 million will be in good shape. So thanks. All pictures going down.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brad.
You got it. Dr. Mary.
Actually, I think you might have mostly answered it, but just for clarity, if I may, because I do have too much crap in my emails, artist, graphic designer, branding. So I'll pull all the stuff off the emails. When I'm doing a Facebook post, should I be dumping no pictures on those as well then, or who cares about that today?
No, images on Facebook posts are fine. Like,
Okay.
I would prefer them on a Facebook post because you're using those as a pattern interrupt, right? That's serving a completely different purpose.
Okay. So, and on my website, I don't have to like pull all my logos and stuff, but keep like a little branding?
No, absolutely not. I mean, it just depends on, ask yourself, why do you want branding on there?
It's pretty.
Yeah, that's serving you. It's serving your ego.
Got it. Okay.
Like, I'm just being honest. It's not. It is absolutely that it's hurting your ability to serve potential clients. It literally does your business no good. There's zero benefit to your business for it. Zero.
Thank you so much. I feel much clearer.
You're very welcome. Taylor, what's up?
Thanks. I missed a part. Is it 8:30 and 2:30 Pacific Standard Time across the board, or 8:30 and 2:30 in their specific time zone?
I just gave my example. 8:30 and 2:30 is Pacific Standard Time because that is like unique to our market. Like that's really, really good times. But they could be across, like that may not be good for you. I'm just trying to use that as an example for our specific market. But that's based off doing the research and data mining a little bit of when our ideal client is most online and most engaging on the telephones.
Okay, so 2 questions to follow up for that. Thank you for that. One, in MailChimp, they have like like a magic send button where you click it and it says like optimization?
like it.
Does it work? No.
Well, I can't say that it does or does not work. I don't like it because it's very difficult to measure. So
Okay.
like, they got all their little algorithms. I would recommend doing it manually.
And to do it manually, where would you find that data for your market specifically to know, or would you
As
just
I men-
test different
as I
kinds
mentioned
of
earlier,
things?
as I mentioned earlier on the Facebook, if you're running Facebook ads or ads of any sort, go look at
Oh, beautiful.
the breakdown of when people are engaging with your ads.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I missed that part. Thanks very much for the clarity.
Welcome. Danny, what's up?
Hey Brad, thank you.
Of course.
I have 100 webinar registrations. My BSL is ready to go. This started in December. I got started people on my list. I've not emailed anybody because of fear, overwhelmed, don't know how to do it. Campaigns, I don't have the copy.
Sure,
I don't
we've all
know
been
how
there.
to do it. So thank you. I just wanted to say that vulnerably. I guess my question is, how do I, what's the first next step I do to break through this wall that I've just not being able to reach out to my list?
Beautiful. So I'm going to give you a template today after we finish this training. I want you to take that template. I want you to make it your own. Don't change too much. I'll give you some guidelines on that. I want you to take all those 100 people and I want you to email them once a day. I want you to email them twice tomorrow. And I don't want you to really look or pay much attention to any responses that you get back. I mean, there may be someone who responds back that's interested and they're asking more questions. If they start a conversation, that's fine. But you just like grit your teeth, understand somebody, I promise you somebody's going to email you back like stop emailing, or somebody's going to unsubscribe, somebody's going to do a spam report, and you're like, oh my God, guess what? Them getting off your list is a benefit to you. Because here's what happens. If you continue to email as I'm training you to do, and you send these emails and these people just stop, if they don't unsubscribe and they just ignore your emails, that is a bad thing for you, right? Because what that does is increase your unopen rate. That tells the service providers, the email providers, the servers, that your content is not really resonating with so that will start to lower your score and lower your ability to get into their inbox. And that's when you start going to a promotions folder or something along those lines. You want these people to unsubscribe because you're better off having the people that are on your list actually open it, because it tells the providers that you're leaning on that your content is relevant. So just grit your teeth, do it, take the entire list, email it once today, twice tomorrow, see what happens.
All right, hope over fear. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Lynn.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm wondering about the 24-hour pass, because right now, as it stands, anybody who signed up for my webinar, they have 24 hours of access, and then, we give them another bit of time a few days later based on the email sequence. Do I just eliminate that so that anybody can watch it? Because right now it's,
So I would eliminate it. I would just separate it. It's just
separate. Okay.
Yeah. It's let that, because all that's doing is using scarcity to get them to try to go back and watch.
Right.
But so this aligns more with the question that someone asked earlier. I forget who it was, about like when do you overlap? When do you sit? So I would let that sequence play out, and then give it a day of rest, a day or two, and then just email them with everybody else. Ignore it. So they didn't think all of it, as far as they know, you just changed your mind. You only had 24-hour pass. Now, well, you got another opportunity. I changed my mind. So what? It's your business, it's your expertise. It's your email list. You have the right to change your mind.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. All right, last two, so we can move on. Tina.
Brad, I'm sorry if this is repetitive as to what I asked you before. I was just looking up the links for my VSL video, the main one. What do I name that link? Like, is that the name of my program, or not my program, but the problem, the overcoming burnout? Do I just name it that?
As far as what is seen inside the email?
Yeah, when I put it in email.
I'll teach you on. I'm going to get to copy in just a minute. I'll teach you on that. Donna. Thank you for being so patient. What's up?
Oh, hey, Brad. I think I'm ditto to whatever Dana said. But
as far as not wanting to, just resisting this whole thing around emailing an audience, getting on video out there in cyberspace, but I'm willing to do that. So if you could say more about those first steps. So I heard you saying, email once or twice a day and take that template and make it your own. But if you could kind of talk to just how to reach that audience in a way that feels comfortable. I don't know, just to get started.
Here's the thing.
Or maybe it's uncomfortable no matter.
I'm going to get the copy in a second, but this is for the majority of you. That's why I spent so much time trying to talk about the mindset that you have to have going into this. It's not going to be comfortable for a number of you. A number of you have big hearts and you want everyone to like you and you want to please everyone. And I'm telling you that will prevent you from serving at your highest level. It just is. And part of being a business owner, a successful business owner, is sometimes you have to be uncomfortable and do things that just maybe you don't like. But once you see the end result of it, and the fact when you see that there's people that you were not able to serve, and now you're able to change their lives, it's because you got uncomfortable and sent emails that you maybe just weren't in 100% alignment with. Like it wasn't exciting to you because you did that. Now you're able to change more lives. I think then typically for most people, the paradigm shifts.
Thank you. Yeah, just be uncomfortable for a while.
Yes, ma'am. All right, last one, and I do not want to butcher your name, so please help me out. Say it again.
Ido.
What's up, brother?
Great meeting you. So we help startup founders raise money, and we get big list of investors that are relevant for them. So we do direct outreach. My question is, it's like a personal email, but in a mass manner that we personalize. There's no unsubscribe on that email because it's a personal email, goes from the Gmail account. Is that a mistake, or should we have an unsubscribe, but then it's gonna refer that this is a mass email that we don't want to do?
Well, what you're doing is it's a fine line. It's a gray area, right? You're walking in a gray area. I can't advise you to not be compliant. So there's compliance issues that you could run into doing it that way. However, I'm not going to say that doing it that way is unproductive, right? The way that you're doing it can be very efficient and productive. However, you're walking in a gray area and running a risk of compliance issues for the platform. So I would just say be cautious, really research what you're doing, and really what it's going to come down to is volume. So be smart.
I love it. So you said that if we send a small volume, it's literally you're approaching somebody for opportunities that probably don't need, but if we do high volume, probably will need that.
Yeah, I can't answer that because I don't want to get into a
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I don't want to put myself in a predicament here, but I would just say that be wise, consider all aspects of doing that.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. So let's get down to some of the stuff I need to get to for this all to make sense and wrap it up so that you know what's happening here. All right. What I'm going to do first is go to a question that was asked a little bit earlier about, well, what data do I have to back this up? What can I show you even within ours? So I'm going to pull back a curtain for you, show some of the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. All right. If there we go. Can someone confirm y'all can see my screen, please? Yes. See these emails here? All right. So what I want you to take a look at is right here we have our delivery rate. Okay, this number right here is just what we delivered, right? What the percentage that actually went to an inbox. All right, right here, what you see is our open rate. Our open rate. Ideally, we would love to see somewhere around a 20% open rate. That'd be really, really good. This is our open rate. This is our click-through rate, a unique click-through rate. That means of the people that open, this is the percentage of those people that actually click through, right? And this is our spam or unsubscribe report. This is people like, I don't like you, go away. All right. So that's what these numbers are. So delivery, open rate, click-through rate, spam, we don't like you anymore, go away. I want you to look at the performance. This is internal campaign for COD. decent, very good delivery rate. However, look at our open rate. Like, look at this. Look at where we are: 4%, 3.9. We kind of hung around 3 to 4%. Every now and then, we got up to a 5.8. But I say 3.5 to 5.5%. Right, is where we kind of hung out with a very, very 0.05, 0.13, 0.07, 0.06, 0.03. It's our click-through rate. Now, that's important because at the end of the day, what's the objective of these emails? To get someone to book a call. So if you look at our open rate, like, that means, man, people either didn't see it or they just weren't interested in opening it. And then the click-through rate, look at this, 0.07%, 0.06%, 0.03%. That means what's being offered there is just not attractive. It's not getting any people even to consider taking the next step in the process. These numbers were abysmal. Now, this is before I came on board as CMO, and this is something I took a look at, and I said, we can do a lot better. And for just example's sake, I'll give you an idea of what these actually look like. So we'll pull this up, and we'll say view. And now let's take a look at it. So first, we have our subject line. It says Morning Joe. Pre-header is 3 emojis of cups of coffee. And look what we have here. We have a random border. We have a big, big headline. We have a picture or a GIF. And now we have copy that is, let's read it together. I couldn't believe it. I've never run out of coffee. After the safety of my wife and kids, my morning cup of Joe is like the biggest party in my entire life. So I grudgingly hopped in my car, made my way to the store, bought some, and then sped back home. 5 minutes later, I was sitting in my office sipping that delicious nectar, ready to take on the day. I opened up one of my desk drawers to grab a notebook, only to find a brand new. Okay, so I am not going to take you through the rest of that for the sake of time and love. All right. Number one, let's look at that. We have a random border at the top of here. Okay. Does anybody think this border is serving any positive purpose? This blue border right here. Does this help us? Is anybody going to buy any or book a call with COD because of this blue border? No, they're absolutely not. They're not going to hook up. That makes it. But will it hurt our delivery rate? Yes. Will it hurt our load time? Yes. Does it make us look like we're trying to sell something right off the bat? Yes. Does it make us look like we're advertising? Yes. Everything. Does any of this email, does this look like an email that you would receive from a friend? Anyone? No. And that's what I want you to think about this. I want you to think about how would I send this to a friend? Like, if I were to email my friend, what would it look like? How would I write? Would I write the worst thing the other morning? I ran out of coffee. And then would I send them some random picture of a dude crying in the shower? And then I tell this story that has absolutely zero relevance to anything that my prospect that I can help my prospect with. I can't solve a coffee problem for my prospect, right? COD, we're not designed to be a coffee supplier, right? So there's nothing that's there that's going to give me the opportunity to actually serve them. Now, the theory is well, I can read them and entertain them, and I can tie in a lesson at the bottom, and then we get down to the very bottom where there's a random CTA. Hey, Russ, show me how to leverage my existing network for high-tech clients. Like, this is the reality is the reason the CTR and this is so low is nobody's even getting here. Nobody's looking at this. And then again, we have a big signature and another border. It serves zero productive purpose for you or the prospect that's reading it. None. It actually is very detrimental. Now, so with that, what I'd like to do is show you. Oh, let's see here. Where was that one? All right, there it is. Morning Joe. All right, so Morning Joe. So you can see the trend here. All of these emails are very, very similar in nature. They have, and this is what many people would call content marketing, helpful, branding, marketing. I'm trying to be their friend. I'm trying to butter them up. I'm trying to do all this stuff. It moves the needle none. Now, I'd like to show you when I saw this and I saw the opportunity and I decided to do things a little bit different. Well, let's take a look at what happened there. 93.942% delivery rate. Oh, by the way, I would have to go up here and change the numbers. These are percentages. This is also with double the amount. I increased the list. So this was a list of, if I'm not mistaken, around 40 or 50,000. When I took it over, I went ahead and added another 50,000 on there, which traditionally would make your numbers go down, right? Because you have a bigger pool of people, let a smaller percentage. Might have more people, but we're going to have a smaller percentage of those people, if all things be the same. However, look at the difference. Now we have 93.42% open rate. We have 16% open rate and 0.38. That went from a 0.05 to a 0.38. What is that, like a 700% increase? Something like that? You know, math is not exact science. It's something like that. Next one, 23.05% open rate, 0.65, 26.27, 0.54. These are people that are clicking to go and watch the VSL webinar and book a call, right? Because there's only one CTA, only one. 25.69% open rate. Now, let's take a look. Let's take a look at what do these. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Look at this. 30.45% and a 1%. This went from a 0.05 average percent click-through rate to now or 5%, 4 to 5% open rate to a 30% open rate to a 0.05 click-through rate to now 1%. Think about those numbers, right? Especially the larger the list, the more this really makes a difference. All right. So we look at this is the video, 27, 23, 26. I want to give you a good, pretty much the same. Let's say this one right here. All right. That was a 1.42%. That's crazy. So we have this one's still 55. I have to go to the ones that are 100,000. 95, anyways, almost a 30% open rate, 1.49 unique click-through rate, bounces, unsubscribes, spam reports. I don't care. Get off my list. All right, now let's look at this. Let's look visually at this together. First, I want you to look here. Subject line. This is the video. That's the subject line. There's a very, very important lesson here that I want you all to take in. Whereas all of the other helpful content that most people put out, that probably the majority of you're explaining in that subject line what is in the content of that email. Is that fair? What am I doing here? For those of you that have been part of some of my ad training, what am I doing here with this subject line? Somebody tell me in the chat. There we go. Selling open, creating curiosity. Curiosity. This is correct. I'm generating curiosity. If you notice how I'm writing it, I'm not capitalizing everything. I'm not making this look like a professional email. I'm not making it look like a corporation sent it. If you watch enough emails, you'll see where I will misspell things intentionally. I will lower capitalize everything. All of that is intentional. Why? Because I want it to look like an email that came from a friend. Notice, do we see any blue bar? No. Do we see any type of design? No. Is our copy here centered? No. It is literally direct, straight to the point, direct CTA. It's written like I wrote it on my phone to a friend. And you see the numbers. We're going from a 4 to 5% open rate to a 0.05 click-through rate to now we're at almost a 30% open rate with a 1.4. I don't know if math can be difficult sometimes, but that is one hell of a difference in performance, right? And how it's ugly. It's not pretty. It doesn't have our branding. It doesn't have our pictures. It doesn't have a signature. So what my point is, I'm trying to use an example. The thing that matters is am I communicating with the person in a way that drives an action? Am I communicating in a way? Am I getting them to open the subject line and pre-header? They are there to do two things, to do one thing and one thing only. And that is to get the person to open the email. This is the video. That subject line. That's ambiguous. We don't know it. What do you mean? This is the video. This pre-header. So look and see, try to get a little bit more information because they're curious. It says all it says is use this. I didn't tell them what to use it for. I didn't tell them what the content of it was. I just said use this. This is how I would communicate to a colleague or friend of mine. Does this make sense? And as they say, the proof is in the pudding. Now let's go to the copy. This simple video. Notice I don't do any introduction. I'm not calling them by name. I'm not like, hey, Charlie, how was your day today? I hope you had an amazing day. No, it is. This simple video has generated a little over 85 million in revenue for COD. Check it out here. Bam, CTA. Watch the video. I guarantee it will work for you as well, or I'll personally write you a check for $5,000 just for trying. If you want high ticket clients, this is for you. I'm identifying. I want you to notice how direct and choppy I am. I am not trying to write a novel. If you were texting or writing your best friend, you wouldn't write them a novel. You would write them in a choppy sentence like that. You're just communicating the information in a very direct way. This is how all 100% of your email should be written. 100%. I guarantee it'll work for you as well. Or a person writes a check for $5,000 just for trying. If you want high ticket clients, this is for you. If you want to save your marriage, this is for you. If you want to lose 25 pounds, this is for you. If you want to feel more confident when you wake up and look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, this is for you. If you're an expert of any kind, this will work for you. Just confident, straightforward. Heck, one of our clients is making $250,000 per month teaching people how to do headstands. If you have expertise of any kind and want high-ticket clients on demand, click the link below and watch the short video. Click here to watch the video and learn more. Have a great Tuesday. All the best, Russ. I really want you to see how direct, short, and choppy. And again, the proof's in the pudding, right? Same list, completely different outcome. Completely different outcome. Much higher open rate, much more engagement rate. And yes, I just saw the question come through, the link in there 2 times, 2 to 3 times. I'm going to put the link. It's the same CTA. I'm doing nothing as watch this video. Click here to watch the video. The CTA is always the same 100% of the time. Click here to watch the video. Now, let's go into the question that's been posed a few times. Well, what if they've already booked a call with me? What if they've already watched my webinar? What if they've already seen my VSL? Should I just send them to book a call? My answer is unequivocally no. 1,000% no. It doesn't matter whether you send them back to ideally watch a VSL, even if you have a webinar. But if that's not the case, if you don't want to make a VSL, that's fine. You send them directly to watching the webinar. No more, not to the opt-in. Why? Why would you do another opt-in? You obviously have their information because they're on your list. So what's the purpose of sending them to opt-in? You're literally sending them to a page that will prevent further conversions. Oh, did I lose someone? Everybody there? Okay. You're literally sending them to a page, if you have send them to opt-in, that's putting a roadblock in the way for no gain, 0 gain. You already have that information. So you send them directly to either the VSL or the webinar to watch it then. Why? Why? Because, my friends, my beautiful people are dumb, and people have very short attention spans. That is just true. That is a world that we live in. I don't care if they watched your VSL 3 days ago. You would think that they know exactly who you are and exactly what you offer and exactly what the next step should be. You would think that, and you would think wrong. People do not remember what they did and what they watched the day before, sometimes hours before. There's probably a few of you that's been on a call with people that scheduled the same day, and they get on the call and they're like completely lost on what it is that you do. People's attention spans are short. I don't care if they've watched your video 3 different times, if they've watched your webinar 10 different times. I don't care. You are going to send them directly there. Why? Because it does you no good to send them to book a call and they have no context of what that call is going to be. Here's what happens when you do that. You send them book a call. Maybe you get a number of people booking a call, and you're going to have an exponentially high no-show rate. People are not going to show up. Why? Because they have disconnect is there. They cannot connect the benefit that they're going to get for showing up to that call. They can't connect the dots anymore. There's just too many things going on in the world at such a fast pace. They've been presented with so many different things. And the likelihood, especially if they came from an ad, the likelihood is that they have a specific problem and you were able to target them and they engage with your ad, the likelihood is they've probably seen similar ads and offers out there as well. They don't know. For you to think that this person, even if it was just yesterday, is going to remember what is different about you, your offer, and your positioning compared to the next Facebook ad or Facebook post they saw, it's just wrong. It's not. So we want to make certain that we're not just getting bookings, but we're getting bookings of people that are indoctrinated and emotionally charged. That's why we send them to the video. We don't want to just bookings. We want bookings that are going to show up and buy, right? So every single time, 100% of the time, we will send them back to either the VSL or a webinar, whatever you have. I've said a couple of times, it's nice if you do have a webinar, have a VSL, because if they have watched a webinar and you have a shorter VSL, so they don't have to sit through 45 minutes, so they can sit through 10 or 12 minutes instead to refresh them and re-indoctrinate them and re-engage their emotional connection to why they'd want to book a call, you'll probably find that more efficient for you, but it's not necessary. The point is, no matter what, the call to action is this every single time. Go here, watch video. And that video is your video that indoctrinates your clients and moves them forward. Does this make sense? Everybody trucking? All right, I'm going to keep moving along real quick so we hit and get through this. Let me think. All right, so let me change my numbers right here. Okay, so here's where the numbers change. All right. So let's look here, where again, this is what I mentioned earlier. I just want to make certain that I close this loop. So I don't want anyone to feel misled. So again, this number right here, 50-something thousand, was comparable to that was being, we doubled it, and then we doubled it again. That's what it was. Okay, so this was only going to 20,000 people with these low numbers, right? These open rates. It's only going to 20-something thousand people with the 5% open rate. So typically, when you increase the amount of people you spend to, your percentages continue to go down. More volume, less people, less percentage is going to open. Then we doubled it. So we doubled it then, and then we doubled it again. And go back up to our percentages. Look at how we still are able to maintain 26% open rate, 0.5% click-through rate, 18%, 0.5%. This one's not that great. 12.5 is still head and shoulders above anything else we had beforehand. 6 point. This one, look at this, 35% open rate with a 1.01 open rate. Let's take a look at this one. One more example, and we'll move on, open up for questions. All right, here, again, this is 90,000, or where is it? 20-something thousand. Now we're at 90,000. Our open rate is 36%. Our click-through rate is a little over 1%. Like this, insane. Now let's take a look at it. Let's look at the subject. RE, your application. Isn't that something that would pique your curiosity if you saw that in your inbox? Would you expect that to be an advertisement of some sort? Right? This is making the viewer believe that, man, something's okay. Did I apply for something? And like, what's going on here? Again, every single piece of marketing has its own job. So here, subject line, RE, your application. And notice it's all written in lower capital letters. If this is not you, I apologize. Look at that free header. That's damn good copy. Look, I'm just tell you, I'm just bragging on myself for a minute. That's damn good copy to get people open the email. People open this email as the numbers show. Because again, it's like that's something that someone would write in a personal manner, right? This is a corporation. That doesn't strike me as an advertisement. Now let's go to the copy. Are you an expert, consultant, speaker, author, medical professional, or professional of any kind? If so, this is you. Look again, how choppy and direct. There's no salutation. There's no hello, Mrs. Jones. There's none of that crap. The United States Bureau of Statistics says there's a 97% chance you are being overworked and underpaid. I guarantee you, it doesn't have to be that way. Look how snappy this is. With one simple video, you can have people lining up to pay you top dollar for your expertise and or service. Look at a CTA. Click here to learn more. Where's that CTA going? Everybody know? Everybody know by now? No, I'm probably beating dead horse. Going to the VSL. That's right. I'm going to the VSL. I'm going to the VSL. Now, do remember in the VSL, the book a call button is directly underneath. So it's not like it's delayed. It is there. If they want to go straight to booking a call, that option is there. If they are still properly indoctrinated, so that works to our benefit. But where I'm sending them is directly to the VSL. 400, but please pay attention to copy. I want you to see how choppy it is, how direct it is. 4,327 other professionals just like you can't be wrong. I'm so confident this one simple video will get you an extra 20, 40, or even 100K per month that if you try it and it doesn't work, I'll personally write you a check for $5,000 just for trying. Click the link below and watch this short video to learn more. Click here to learn more. If you think you qualify, submit your application. It's short and to the point, and we'll schedule a time to talk within the next 2 days. Notice how what's the word I'm looking for? Not improper, but how natural I'm being. I'm not let's submit your application, then we're schedule a time to talk, and then we're going to assess where your business is, and we're going to see what your strengths and weaknesses are. And we're going to talk about your goal. No, I'm talking like a friend. I'm talking as friendly as I can while continuing to be straight and to the point. If you think you qualify, submit your application. It's short and to the point, and we'll schedule a time to talk within the next 2 days. Unfortunately, if you're not an author, expert, consultant, speaker, medical person, or you can't provide a high-end service, this is not for you. If I sent this email to you and you did not fit this criteria, I sincerely apologize. It was an honest mistake. You see how I'm roping in the actual subject line in the pre-header? Right? I'm roping it in. So it's not like clickbait. It ropes in. It ties in. It's not like I'm selling them, hey, here's a Christmas present, and then I'm telling them something different. I'm tying it into the copy. I'm just making it very direct. Unfortunately, if you're not an author, expert, consultant, speaker, medical professional, or can't provide a high-end service, this is not for you. If I sent you this email and you do not fit the criteria, I sincerely apologize. It was an honest mistake. Again, I'm just writing like a human would write to another human. However, if you are one of the above, this short video will show you exactly how you can turn complete strangers into high-ticket clients on autopilot with one simple video. Click here to learn more. It's going to blow your mind how simple and powerful this is. I hope you're enjoying a great Tuesday evening and have an incredible week ahead. All the best, Russ. Notice the signature of even Russ. It's very informal. I could put Russ Ruffino, CEO, founder, clients on demand, all the I just want it to look like Russ typed this from his phone and sent it. I've even sent emails where I don't know if any of you old school iPhone folks know how I may still do this, but if you send a email just directly from your iPhone, it would be like italicized at the bottom of it, say sent from iPhone. I would like type that up and italicize it and put it below the last line on the email. Just marketing, baby, marketing. But nonetheless, the copy here, the proof is in the pudding, is what I want to basically, is the message I'm trying to share with you, is the opportunity to really monetize the list. If we look at the numbers, if we look at these numbers, unique clicks, like this email, because of the numbers, we're looking at, this is 905 unique people, unique, not the same people, unique 905 people from one email. 905 people went to see our VSL and to book a call instantaneously, one email, right? One freaking email. There's 905 people that's inside my funnel. Cost us nothing. Now let's compare that. Let's go back to keep all things the same. Let's go back and let's look. what the numbers were, we go back down here to where we were sending 20 something thousand. We had these subliminal, I'm trying to find a good one, a high one. Like you're talking 23, 14, 22, 12, 38. This is the highest one here. Why is it not opening? Unique clicks, 38. Now I'm going to ask all of you. Yes, you may be a little hesitant. Yes, this may be different than what you've experienced in the past. Is it going to help or hurt your business if you have 38 people going to your funnel for free or 908 people? Right, the proof's in the pudding here. So again, this is different. I understand that. It's not necessarily what you may be accustomed to, and it probably breaks a lot of things you've been taught by other marketers out there. People that because I promise there are a dime a dozen these marketers. Oh, you need content marketing. You need to provide them with all this stuff and help them in advance, and then eventually they'll come. No, you don't. That's not those people that are teaching you that are people who don't have real world experience. They can't pull up this. They can't show you these numbers. They don't know how to do it themselves. All right? They don't. The reality is this is what works. If you want to leverage an asset, and you need to think of your email list as that. It is an asset. It is something you paid for. You didn't get those emails for free. It is a paid asset that you have acquired. You should be leveraging it, and you should be aggressive in doing so. Why? Because those people on your list need your help. And just because they weren't at a buying position or buying moment when they came onto your list doesn't mean they're not at one now. You need to put it in their face directly. Here is your process. All the email is doing is putting them back into the sales process that you've already created. You're putting them at the step where they can watch the video, become emotionally engaged, and take the next step to book a call. That's it. We're leveraging. That's the only purpose of your email list, is to get people to take that next step and enter back into your sales process. Period. All right. I think that about covers everything. I guess we'll open up for questions for about 15, 20 minutes, and then I will give you your gift. All right. Y'all can thank Mark for it. All right. Let's see here. Michelle, what you got, my friend?
Hi there. This was great. Thank you for all this content. So I have a question about the first email that you brought up on the screen. I only have a webinar. I never had a chance to do my VSL because I graduated COD the week that they introduced the VSL offering. So I want to be able to bank off of my webinar. In that email, if I'm going to start sending that email twice a day, should I allude to watch the video and then book a call with me? Or should I just let them watch the webinar and get to the call of action that's the last page of the webinar?
No, it's watch the video. Like, because the videos are training. Like, that's it. I wouldn't call it a webinar. I wouldn't call it anything. It's, hey, watch this video. And the CTA that's tied into that is, what benefit are they going to get from it? What are they going to learn? What are they going to gain? Hey, if you have this problem, here's a unique solution. Watch this video and check it out. That's it.
How do I guarantee that they actually watch it? Because it's almost 30 minutes.
You don't. You put the button underneath. The button should show up automatically. All right. So in this world, right, and for this, we call it a retargeting opportunity. In this world, it goes straight to your webinar, the replay that plays automatically, and the button is right there in the first second of it starting to play. Right, or not even that delay. It should be there immediately. They both pop up at the same time.
The button to book a call?
Yes. This is the opposite.
If my webinar is not set up like that, who should I talk to?
I don't know. Ask Coach. I have no idea. That is outside. Please don't ask me tech questions. I don't know. I'm dumb as a rock.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You got it. David, what's happening, man?
Hey Brad, thanks. This is great. Loved all your stuff so far. That answered my first question. We have an open rate that's typically in the 25 to 35% range, sometimes higher, occasionally lower. And our click-through rate is generally 0.5 to 1.2%. And Thank you. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. It's part of my question. Or pat us on the back. Given that, our emails are definitely a lot longer and don't follow this template. Are you suggesting we should just test, like, go with this new strategy period and just see what happens? I mean, you showed a massive improvement. I agree. I just can't imagine a massive improvement like that with those numbers. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I do know that I've given this to people in May who had similar open rates that you had. However, those open rates did not equate to quality bookings. They were all a bunch of no-shows and things. Like, it was a very different experience. And not only did again, I have to be cautious in sharing this because I don't want people to think this is expectation. It is a unique scenario, but their open rates went up to like 45%. Their click-through rates went up to like 8%. Like, it's crazy. I mean, it's just she just had a very hyper responsive list. So it's great. So I think it can still work, but what it did even more so for her is the new process, because she was sending people directly to book a call. The process and the framing of it, where they were going there with the intent, they click because they have the intent of wanting to learn something, right? That's what we're doing here. We're manifesting an immediate intent. The immediate intent is that they want to learn or gain something from clicking on that link. It's not just to go book a call, because booking a call is an immediate intent. It's I'll click here and book something, and the intent is a day or 2, 3 days, whatever later. Immediate intent is I want to click here to immediately gain something, and then the natural course of action thereafter is to book a call. Now that person's more emotionally tied to that, therefore the likelihood that they're going to show up and be more engaged and potentially buy is much, much higher. So here's to answer your question is I would certainly say it costs you nothing. Like, I wouldn't throw away what you're doing, but it's your list. Like, give it a shot.
By the way, you answered the question, in my opinion, before you said to answer your question. It was an excellent answer. I appreciate it. Real quickly, and I know it's off topic, but it's related. Would you be able to indicate whether the massive improvement that COD had when the VSL was started to be used, what degree it was the VSL and what degree it was the new strategy with the ad campaign?
Are you speaking
both, right?
So you're speaking outside of the realm of email, just
yeah. I indicated it was off topic. If you had something off the top of your head, I was just hoping you could answer it, and that's all. Thanks.
But to answer your question, both had. I would say it's very difficult to separate the two. The two were built cohesively, and we had a lot of things happening at the same time. So in hindsight, to be completely transparent and fair, I wish I would have just done it separately just because of my own sake, but our performance was so great and skyrocketed so high. It's like, well, me going back to try to figure it out would have just been detrimental to the progress we're making.
Okay, thanks to you and everybody else for the time to answer the questions. Appreciate it.
Got it. Dana, what's up?
Hey, Brad, thanks again. So I've got 100 people that registered for my webinar. Haven't talked to them yet by email. So I just send this out straight up, and I got 200 people who I spoke to saying, we'd like to see your webinar, when it comes out. So no, first, hey, you heard me speak at this place. You're going to be getting it. Just go right for the aggressive, straight up choppy email, right?
Yep. But I wouldn't call it webinar, I'll call it video. Just call it video.
Video.
Sounds like you're trying to sell somebody something.
Yeah, that was the day. That was when the BSL came up. But yeah, video. So the other question is, I don't have a newsletter yet, but how do you like newsletters and all that? What's your opinion on those? And do they just have one CTA as well? Newsletters, I guess, come after you've signed them up for stuff, but just thoughts on newsletters.
I mean, in my honest opinion, I think it's a waste of time and money.
Okay.
Like if you just look at time and money ROI, which is your job as a CEO of your company, I promise you that you're gonna find that. Again, newsletters are another vanity metric. It's something that makes you feel good, makes you feel more professional. But go tell me how it moves the needle. Go tell me a person who has either bought from you or stayed with you because of a newsletter. You ain't gonna find one.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Matthew, what's happening, man?
Hey, so question is, when you mentioned that when you came on, the email list was really small, and then you added more opted-in people to it. So where do those people come from?
Oh, so great question. So that we had the list, but the individual managing it for me was was overly protective and scared that they don't want to. It was more of a fear-based thing. Like, I don't want a lot of people. So our list is around 450,000. That's what our list is. And sometimes I email all 450,000. But now what we do, because of our volume, we have different email servers we use. So I'm showing you SendGrid, but there's other ones that we use at different times just because of the size of our list. It's just a strategy thing. But basically, we had 450,000, somewhere around there, 400 something thousand people at that time, and it was just they were only emailing 25,000. So I'm like, this is huge. There's a huge bucket of people over here. So I just filtered. I expanded the dates of of people being engaged, added to it, saw it improve. Like, oh, well, this is good. Added to it again, added to it again, added to it again, and just kept adding to it. And now, I mean, I don't have any problem. I want to email 450. I have no reservations about doing it.
So any data augmentation to supplement that to improve the odds on it then?
I'm sorry?
Data augmentation, so you got the list of the people, but you can get more information on them to figure out who's more likely candidates for them. There wasn't any of that.
No, all I did was time of, so my criteria was when was the last time that they engaged with email? Because that's how most people scrub lists. And that's how this has been scrubbed. It was like they haven't opened an email in 90 days. Well, I was just like, well, they hadn't opened an email in 6 months. They hadn't opened an email in a year. They hadn't opened an email 2 years. Like, that's, and the reason
the
reason people scrub that is because if you have too high of an unopened rate, as I alluded to earlier, then that punishes you. So there's reason to be aware of that. That's why I stair-stepped it up. Like, let's just see. And we didn't have to worry about it going down because ours actually went up every time.
Okay, and then the number of emails. So if they're sending it from a personal email and keeping them out of spam boxes, is there a recommended number that you have for the people to try and not to exceed, to not get themselves into?
What do you mean personal email? Like you're sending them out of a Gmail account?
Yeah, so we've got it set up for a specific email just for the email list in case that gets burned. That it doesn't, we can replace it with another one that doesn't, that isn't going to be affected. So we don't want to use the personal email and have that get burned from being able to use it with everything that I'm trying to do for regular business. So
yeah, I would be cautious about using a normal regular email because you run into compliance issues. And here's the reason that can be risky. Is number one, you could certainly get burned an email address, but also in my opinion is when you do it from a personal email that's not set up to be a business, like it's not identified in the system as a business email. There are ambulance chasers out there, right? That look for you to break a compliance on an email, which would be that. Like that. So if you're running it from a personal Gmail account, you're sending what they would be considered commercial emails out there, and you haven't identified it to the servers as a commercial email, then if someone when I say ambulance, there's people out there that look to sue you. They'll sue you for $5,000 just because you emailed them by breaking the rules. And so to me, it's like the risk versus reward. Like it cost me what, $50 to go set up a constant contact account or a SendGrid account. Like it's just not worth the risk to me.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Is it Amara?
Yes. Hi, it's Mara. Thanks.
Mara, how you doing?
Good. I'm curious about a strategy. Do you have any advice on a strategy of how to keep the emails emotional? And should it be in the PAS structure, but just, a little choppier, a little more casual, and use that same, that structure, or are you suggesting an entirely different structure?
I mean, you can be emotional as far as it relates to the outcome that they're looking for. But again, most people, when they try to get emotional, they get very story based, right? And that is the complete opposite of what's going to work when it comes to actually getting people to take action. Now, the way that I would say that you could invoke a little bit more emotion is if you have this data, is look at keywords. So this is something all of you should be doing through your applications. So this isn't something you can do from day one, right? If you don't have it, it's okay. You'll have it at some point. But when you have people filling out your applications, I would always include an open-ended question or two, like one or two open-ended questions that ideally you phrase it like in a way where they complete a sentence. So give an example. Let's say it was, this is a weight loss thing and they needed, you were doing a 28-day offer or something. You would say, the question would be, in the next 28 days, I would like to ... and have them complete the sentence on the application. Well, once you got a couple of hundred of those or 1,000 of those, guess what you have? You have like a plethora of data to use. The most powerful thing that you can do as a marketer in your business is speak the language of your ideal prospects. So you take all those, sounds kind of like really simple, but it is, and it's a fair thing. You take all of those answers, just copy and paste them all in one big document, like just as they are. Don't fix anything, don't fix any punctuation, copy and paste them exactly how they are into one big document. And then you just take that document and copy it all together and go put it in a word counter that you can find for free on Google. And then what you're going to ask that to do is identify what are the words and the terms that show up most frequently. These are the terms that your prospects are putting in. And so what you'll find typically words that show up over and over and over and over again, and key phrases that show up over and over. And so those words, when you're able to identify those, then I would say, all right, yeah, in your copy, then I would use those types of words because that's going to trigger a subliminal emotional connection to it. But I would still keep it the exact same structure, very straightforward. But I'm just using, these are like some little ninja tricks that you can do, but it take a little bit of time to get the data. That's how I would get there. But the belief that you have to really get into this long story to really evoke emotion, that's not true. It's not true. And that's not the purpose of the email. Where the emotion should be evoked is when they're watching the VSL or webinar, right? That's where the emotion is attached. You just need to generate curiosity through the email to get them to that step.
Oh, I get it. So the purpose of the email is to get them to watch the VSL.
Absolutely.
Period.
That's it. That's it. And that's a great thing to filter to think through.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, Stella, what you got, girl?
Hey, Brad.
Hey, hey.
Oh, is Tina up? Okay.
Sorry.
I am curious about, would you suggest that this copy also be what we follow for like Facebook copy?
It can be very effective in Facebook copy. So interestingly, if you watch enough of our trainings, where you'll see some common traits is the subject line of email is very comparable to what a headline would be in a Facebook ad. And the body of the email would typically be the text of a Facebook ad. So yes, very good eye on catching that. So yes, there would be a lot of very comparable opportunities there. Yeah.
Okay, and then my next question is, we've been taught to use the problem, agitate, solve strategy. Is that something you would suggest we continue, or do we just?
And so now I'm here at your service, my friend. And as things evolve and change, they evolve and change, right? Everything we're a company that is devoted, absolutely devoted to give you the best of the best. And guess what? Times change, people change, worlds change, and things improve. We're not going to sit here and be stagnant and just say because we taught you this way one time, that's always going to be that way. This is a new training for a new way, a new opportunity, a way of doing things. So certainly pick your poison, but you saw the numbers for yourself of doing something that specific way and doing it this way. So do you want a 4% open rate or do you want a 25% open rate? You be the deciding factor.
All right, great, thank you.
You're very welcome. Tina, I'm going to get to you. I just want to make certain I answer questions of people who haven't had a chance to answer yet. I think I only got one more. Well, I think that we can go to you, Tina. All right, so Dr. Mary's already asked. So Tina, what's up?
Great, thanks, Brad, again. So I'm just trying to understand my email. So I'll have the link for the VSL video. I'll also have a link to Calendly for the breakthrough call.
Yeah. Where did you see that?
No, I'm just trying to understand in my email, right? Because I usually put
One CTA, one CTA, one CTA. There's no, if you send people to book a call from your email, you may get people to book it. The chances of them showing up are almost slim to none. And if they do show up, the likelihood that they are by are even slimmer. The reason is they don't have the context, the emotional connection of why they booked that call. The only CTA you have on there is to go watch this video. That's it.
when they watch the video though, I don't have it linked to my calendar.
Yeah, so you put a button right below that video that they can click. So you create a different page for it and use that page specifically for this. Where it's like as soon as they go to this page, like this, just call it your email page. Right? All it is an autoplay replay of your webinar or VSL, and there's a button immediately underneath it.
Okay, and my VA should be able to do that?
Sure, absolutely. If they can't figure it out, tell them to use YouTube and Google. Come on now.
All right, thank you.
All right, Patty, what's that? We got two more, and I got to get this to y'all. So I'm going to take these last two, and then I'm going to get you your gift. So
thank you.
Patty,
huge thanks. Huge thanks. So my emails right now are built out. I'm wondering, I'm going to go in and revise and edit what I've got based on the content today. But for the shorter emails that are real short, and like right now I'm sending every 2 days. So do I add those in, or do I just get rid of those and switch over to this 100%?
So I would say eventually you're doing this 100%, but for the sake of time and opportunity, I would say you add in what we have, right? We have to start where we are.
Okay. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
And then how long until we repeat the email sequence? Like,
great question. So
keep adding new ones, or do we circle it back?
I'm so glad that you asked that. I would typically not repeat an email for at least 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. Now you can, but now, and here's the thing: if you found an email that works very well, here's a rule that thank you for asking this question. This is important. A rule that you need to be aware of, because spam filters will pick on this and it can hurt you, is if you use the same subject line every time or the exact same wording every time. So even if you have a home run, you want to change the subject line a little bit. So for example, like one of those I said, RE today's appointment, right? Well, that works really well. So then the next time I did it, I put tomorrow's appointment, right? And then I just finessed the copy where it says exactly the same thing except 1% different, so that the servers don't pick up on, you're just literally sending the same email over and over and over again. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, last one, Matthew. What's up, brother?
You've been answering so many questions that I'm forgetting what I was even raising my hand for. I remember what it was now.
Alabama going to win a national championship? Yes, they are.
Go Beavers. Okay, so when we were at the last event, you were talking about using the retargeting. So we want to put a separate pixel on these things, and then being able to retarget them to abolish or just to destroy any of their potential objections, right?
Oh, absolutely. This a page. So the retargeting, we should have that pixel on every single page that has to do with our.
But a separate pixel for these ones.
Well, I wouldn't have a separate pixel. I may just fire a different event, but I would certainly use the same pixel used for everything, just maybe a different event. But yes, that certainly be tracking this and retargeting people that visit that page. Absolutely.
So then those videos that would go out and they'd get put into the next round of videos that would be, somebody doing a testimonial about the fear that they had about it and why it ended up working.
Yeah. So I would just have it, because since it's just one page inside of your funnel, I wouldn't segment it out as just the people who click from email. It would just be in the catch-all of anyone who has viewed any page on my website within 30 days, right? It's just gonna build into that audience.
Oh, okay. So it's not going sequentially, like this is the first video they get, this is the next one. Okay.
Yeah, it just goes in, it just continues to add to that traffic source.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
You got it. All right, my friends. Well, thank you for your time. I am as soon as I hang up here, what I'm going to do is I have a document for you. Please do not share this document outside of COD. This document is 3 of our best performing emails. And so what I would like you to would like you to do is take these as examples, and you can finesse them however you want. Certainly keep them as close to structure as you want. You can. I would just ask you not to copy and paste them exactly how they are. That probably wouldn't be super kosher, but keep them as close as you possibly can, and then use these as not only as opportunities to take action on this today, right? So all you need to do is change, a few words here and there, make certain that it makes sense for your particular offer. Don't change it too much. Just like when, we send you copy for a webinar, BSL or ads, same thing. Like, don't change too much. These are tried and proven, not only with us, but with a number of our clients in Millionaire Alliance. Everyone that has done this, that I've given these to, have made money off of it pretty much immediately. So I want you to take them, copy them, paste them, and then I want you to use them as templates to continue writing your own, using as a structure, get in the habit, build your repertoire of emails that follow the same structure, and let's make some money. All right, that sound good?
I'm just going to add a caveat to that. He said that don't share outside of COD. Please don't share outside of Lions Pride, because you guys are special and you guys are paying here to be special. So don't share with anybody outside of Lions Pride.
Yes, please. Nobody in Momentum or anything like this. Is just for y'all. So please just respect that and just accept it as a gift and put it to
It won't
work.
be a separate email, guys. What I'll probably do is once Brad gets them, we'll put them underneath this training. We'll embed them in the site somehow.
Okay. I'll send it to you right now because I've got the link ready to go. So I'll just send it to you, Ryan, and
Yeah, we'll figure out a way to get it so once you see the training, they'll be underneath the training. So you have to basically be in the training to access them. All right, guys. Have a good one. Take care.